it's, as I said before, a really great opportunity for everybody to have a go, and really in a safe environment, from being a performer to being a first-time director to being a first-time writer. You have the opportunity of being having feedback from an accredited adjudicator who comes across and will judge the plays for both the One Act and the Easter Festival, and get some really constructive advice around what you're doing well or things that you can improve on to just help your performance or your play or your directing ability. And at the end of each of the festivals, it's almost like a little mini Oscars. We have a bit of a trophy-giving event, and it's a real achievement to do well in one of those competitions, because particularly the One Act Play Festival locally is very, very well supported. We have lots of entries, and it is very much like a festival atmosphere during the week. You know, lots of people come and see each other perform, and it's very well supported. So we're really encouraging anybody to come and join us.
And you mentioned the idea of it could be, you may not have tried something like this before, but I also can't help but pick up on the fact that there's lots of potential crossovers there from other sort of industries as such in the creative arts. So, for instance, we were just talking before we came on air about people involved in maybe making films or short films or whatever, in that when they're creating props or, sort of locations or scenes or even the writing of them, they could have a go at doing that, but in the theatre realm too, couldn't they?
Absolutely. And what we've seen as well is that some of our One Act plays have gone on to be short films. There's also an opportunity for people who are good at creative writing and maybe good at short stories to take that piece of creative writing on to the next level in terms of a one act or even a full length play as well. And I'm speaking from experience, because this last year I had the opportunity to do that and really, really enjoyed it. And I know that certainly last year, our One Act Play Festival, 50% of the plays that were performed were original pieces, and that's a marvellous achievement for us.
A great spin-off, of course, for young people getting involved in theatre, and particularly the Young Actor of Man. It gives them confidence. So when they start having interviews, either for school or for jobs, all of a sudden that confidence comes through. So it is a great opportunity for them to learn the art of being interviewed.
And it's a really non-judgmental atmosphere as well, which is really important, because it can be really nerve-wracking, can't it, being on stage? But there's that sense that it is like a family environment and everyone wants you to do well.
That's right, especially the audience.
So let's talk about the Young Actor of Man a little bit more then. How old do you have to be to enter that?
So it's from age 13 up to the age of 18. You have to be under 19 on the first round date, which is the 17th of February. So that's pretty much anybody of high school age. And we've had entries from a wide range and winners from a wide range, and there's nothing to stop you from entering again. So if you've been in the competition before, taken that feedback and gone away and worked on your craft, you've got the opportunity to go back again and show how you've improved. And we see that quite a lot. A number of our young people come through to the competition a number of times and then eventually come to win it.
And what pieces do they need to perform?
They have to perform 2 dramatic pieces of their own choice. It's very much up to them. It's up to them to decide on what contrast they want.
It can be musical pieces too.
It can be musical pieces as well. In fact, our lady that won this last year is Alexandra Slater, who's just been in Back to the 80s, and I wasn't there, but I believe that she performed a musical theatre piece as well as a dramatic piece to win.
So, Michael, when entrants are choosing pieces, are there any sort of hints and tips you can give them as to which might be best to sort of showcase what they're capable of?
Because most of the contestants attend drama schools, and so they're drama teachers, and drama teachers on the Isle of Man are very, very experienced and very good, and they give them really good pieces to have a go at. And initially they might say, well, try this, and they might try one and not like it, or it doesn't suit them, and so they'll give them another one. When they get further into the rounds, then the adjudicator comes in as well and will set pieces for them. So initially it's the drama teachers usually that set the pieces for them.
So there are 2 rounds, the first around February and the second in Easter week,
Yes.
as I understand it. What's the prize then, Sharon?
So the prize is a bursary. You get a bursary of £500 for you to use for a drama course of your choice in the UK. So again, it's a really if you're into drama, it's a really great prize to win. All of our competitors have used it, and have used it in lots of different ways. We don't say you have to go to a certain course. So if there's a particular strength or a particular area that you're keen in, we will support you wherever you want to go.
And I'm guessing as well that it's not just the fact that you've got the different courses to choose from, but actually doing something like that and getting off island and working with other people from off island is probably a really good thing, isn't it?
Very good thing. And they all, whenever they come back, because that's one of the things we do ask them when they've been on their course, is to come back to us and tell us about it so that we can learn as well. And they always come back and say, oh, this has just been the most wonderful experience. I've learned so much and I've met so many friends. So that's great.
So let's talk about the One Act Play Festival then. This is held at the King's Court Theatre at King William's College. And again, that's around February time. Who can enter this, Sharon?
Anybody can, any local group. And in fact, you don't have to belong to a local group. You can be just a bunch of friends who decide to put on a play. So, and you can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. So as long as you put your entry in. And again, we have, that's open to the to youth groups as well as to adult groups as well. And we have traditionally had a youth evening, and there are opportunities for specific youth prizes as well.
And as you said at the beginning, this isn't all about acting. It takes a great team to put on any sort of production. And so there are lots of different categories prize-wise.
Oh, absolutely. There are categories for best design, best set, best sound, direction, general production, as well as, the traditional best actor and best supporting actor and so on and so forth as well. So yeah, it's a great thing to be involved in.
And Michael, you were saying before we came on air as well that it's something that's actually quite popular with women, isn't it? Especially the backstage side of things.
So. And last year at our Easter Festival, we had an all-female backstage team, which is fantastic because very often people think, oh, it must be all men backstage, but we had an all-women cast.
When it comes to the One Act Play Festival, there is presumably a limit on the time that the production can be. What is that?
That's 50 minutes. And that's it's interesting because it sounds like a long time, but quite often that's a bit of a challenge if you're particularly if you've written something yourself, and there's a lower limit of 20 minutes. But it's very rare, I think, isn't it, that we actually have we're struggling to get people to fill the time. It's always the other way around. You quite often find when you come into the technical rehearsal, people are trying to chop bits off and what have you just to make that time limit, because there is a penalty, and we follow our federation rules, so we have to be quite strict on that. So you will see somebody sat there with a stopwatch, making sure that everybody's keeping to the time.
And that also accounts for setting up your set and striking it as well.
That's in addition. So we have 10 minutes to set up and 5 minutes to strike. So, and interestingly enough, 10 minutes is quite a long time. You'd be quite surprised how much you can achieve in that. And obviously in the 5 minutes, it's literally a case of just getting it off the stage as quickly as you possibly can. It's not quite as...
it's never very dignified, that,
indeed,
is it?
No.
And although these are local competitions, the winners of both the one act and the full length do then qualify to be in the national competitions. So, there is a great prize for them.
And how well have previous winners been received off Ireland?
Exceedingly well, and I'm very pleased to say that very often they've won. So going from the Isle of Man, both in the one act and the full length, they've won and done exceedingly well. So that's great.